Yo, what's up guys? It's Jack and welcome back to another video. And in this one, I wanted to talk about my Expendables 4 casting wish list. And it said that sometime this summer or sometime in 2019 or something like that, we're gonna have filming begin. So with that being said, I've been following the actors of the Expendables for quite some time now. Grew up watching their movies, so I want to give my fantasy wish list of the Expendables 4 casting. So without further ado, let's get straight into this. And some of these are going to be obvious and some of these may or may not be obvious. I wanted people that were well-rounded, also had the ability to have a sense of humor, and that fit the Expendables crew really, really well. They're the kind of people that could carry their own movie, but at the same time work together as a team very well. So let's get straight into this. Now, one of the rules that I wanted to follow was that only 2 of the original Expendables would return, and everybody else would be new. So especially since we had a trilogy and we've seen a lot of the same guys, I think it would only make sense now since we're doing a part 4 that not too many of them return in order to give some spice and flavor to the film. So obviously Sylvester Stallone and Jason Statham are the 2 that, in my opinion, need to return. Number 1, because Sylvester Stallone is the leader of the Expendables, and obviously Jason Statham is his right-hand man. So those two need to return. It is simple as that. So let's get straight on to the new list. Now, the next one up on my list is Jackie Chan. Now, I didn't just want another big name martial artist that would basically be a perfect replacement for Jet Li, but I wanted something in terms of variety. Now, I was thinking Donnie Yen as well, but Jackie Chan I chose to because Jackie Chan is known to be very funny, obviously, and he's known for doing crazy stunts and acrobatics as well. So I always pictured there would be like some sort of scene to where no technology would be able to be used to basically get into an area where they'd have to be undetected, and Jackie Chan would be perfect for it because he can get to many places that most normal human beings wouldn't be able to get. So I think it would be really cool to have his moment in a scene like that as well. All right, so let's go on to the next one, and that is Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson, again, he looks the part. He doesn't have to even do anything action-worthy in order to steal a scene in a movie because he's got a lot of charisma. He's very funny, and the man is only getting better at his craft as time goes on, and in the acting department as well. So this guy is very versatile, and he is definitely somebody that you want in this kind of movie. And at the same time, he's also a team player. He's not just some person that could carry a movie on his own. He works very well with others, and he could be damn funny as well. And I'm pretty sure most of us have seen pretty much every movie he's been in for the last few years. So you guys definitely know what I mean. All right, the next one up is Danny Trejo. Danny Trejo has been doing a lot. He's been in a couple of bigger movies, but he's been in mostly a lot of smaller type movies. Especially back in the 90s or maybe early 2000s, and with Machete recently as well, or Machete. The thing is, I personally think that this guy fits in very well. He could be like that quiet guy, similar to the way that one guy was in Predator, the original Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was a really tough guy. We're really scary to look at just by looking at him, but at the same time, out of nowhere, he might just be funny, or you might see a scene to where, he doesn't have that much emotion most of the time, but then all of a sudden, in one very particular moment, he will express some sort of emotion that'll just make you laugh and just make you go, oh my gosh. So I think Danny Trejo would fit in very perfectly, and at the same time, he's done action as well, so he's no stranger to that. All right, let's move on to the next one, Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, I think, makes a perfect addition, especially since he's been in all sorts of different generations and different styles of action movies. And he's a guy that is extremely dedicated to his craft. He could do practical stunts. He could do Japanese Asian style stunts as well. He's experienced in the martial arts and with guns as well. He was in Speed back in the 90s. He was obviously in the late 90s and early 2000s. He was in the Matrix movies, and now he's back with John Wick. And my goodness, this guy could pretty much do it all. So it'd be a damn shame not to have him in an Expendables movie. All right, let's move on to the next one, Michael Jai White. Now, this guy is one of the best martial artists alive today. And he's also a guy that has done tons and tons of smaller budget films. And some of you guys might know him. He was briefly in The Dark Knight. He was Spawn back in 1997. He's done Blood and Bone, and he could also be funny. If you don't know what I mean, watch Black Dynamite. If there's any Michael J. White movie that you want to see to really show just how versatile the man could be, is watch one of his action movies and then go watch Black Dynamite. And this guy definitely deserves a spot on the roster, in my opinion. And let's move on to the next one. Without further ado, Gerard Butler. This guy has his own unique style of action. Now, just like all these guys do. I know I've repeated myself a few times when I say that, but this guy really, all these people really have their own style. But yet at the same time, they fit like a glove when it comes to a movie like this. And Gerard Butler in Olympus Has Fallen, or London Has Fallen, and with 300 or whatnot, or even with the psychological side of things, like let's say what's it called, Law-Abiding Citizen. I mean, this guy is not only versatile as an actor, but he could also be funny in a really dark and dry way. But at the same time, you know, he could just be funny for the sake of being funny. Again, very well rounded. He definitely fits the part. And he's another guy that could do it all. He's definitely a jack of all trades for this kind of a role, so to speak. And go figure, I use the term jack of all trades, right? All right, so let's get on to the next one. Kurt Russell. This guy has been doing action and even comedy in Captain Ron, but he's been doing action ever since the 80s or whatnot, and then some in the 90s and early 2000s as well. And right now we haven't seen him too much as we used to, but this guy is pretty much another guy that you definitely want to be in this movie, because he's a guy that could basically just do it all, and he just fits this very, very well. And especially since we really haven't seen him in such a long time in doing particularly an action role. At least most of us haven't seen him, at least not as consistent as we want to. I think this would be a really good way for him to come back and for really, you know, get people to see him again and be like, oh man, I almost forgot about him, or I missed this guy. So a few movies to watch, obviously for comedy. Captain Ron, in my opinion, is a classic. But if you want action, I mean, obviously Escape from L.A., Soldier in the early 2000s, just to name a few. So look him up if you haven't. If you're one of the newer generation, look this guy up and you'll see what I'm talking about, and he'll fit in perfectly. And last but not least, I'm kind of breaking my original rule of not bringing in anybody else from the original trilogy. But Mickey Rourke as Tool would be great as a return, but not as a good guy, but as a bad guy, as a villain, because this would make an interesting twist in the movie, because this guy used to be one of these guys, and not only that, he used to provide work for them. And the thing is that basically he knows how these guys run, so therefore he could counter them, which makes it very interesting. And at the same time, you know how close he and Sylvester Stallone's character are in the movie Barney Ross. These guys are really close, so it makes it very, very interesting when one of the guys that used to be the leader of this group all of a sudden has turned out to be one of the bad guys and one of the villains. So, and I think it could make for an interesting turn. So, yeah, that is basically my casting right now. There could be more or less added to the film. Some of these guys could be villains on the bad guys side. Some of these guys could all be on the same team as good guys. But either or, I think it makes for a really good, in my opinion, a solid, interesting choice. Obviously, it would be really interesting to see a couple of other guys, possibly, in your opinion. So in the comment section, I want you guys to let me know what you guys think, who you would pick, who you agree with on this wish list casting, or who you disagree with, and who you would go with. I tried to keep the rules of only bringing in 2 of the original and keeping the casting to about 10, because in the original there were about 9, I think, give or take. So those are the kind of rules that I kind of would like to follow. So let me know down in the comment section what you think, or who you would love to see, or who you think would make a good addition to this list, or maybe replace one with the other that I possibly didn't think of or might have forgotten, or who you think. So anyway, that's all I got for this one, guys. Let me know down what you think, and as always, if you enjoyed the video, let me know, and if you didn't, let me know what I can do to make my videos better, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.